morning. Thank you for joining us on Pastor's Corner. I hope you had a blessed week. I want to thank everybody that uh, was with us online and in person last week during Resurrection Sunday. We had an amazing service. 7 people got baptized in the name of the Lord. Uh, uh, 4 more are lined up quickly here. I say quickly. We're just setting the date. So as a total, 11 decided to get baptized and 7 already did. So it was an amazing service. The presence of God was in the house. The anointing was here, and the power of God is moving. We thank the Lord for His hand, His heart, His voice, His word. We're going to go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 11. Very familiar scripture, the first verse that you may or may not know. The book of Hebrews chapter 11 is known as the Hall of Faith. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, the evidence of things not seen. We can use this as our definition of faith directly from the word of the Lord. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things we cannot see. Of course, we know that faith is very important. It's very crucial in our lives to have faith. Faith is one of those things, though, that it's difficult to quantify comparing faith. You may think it's simple just by how much somebody walks by faith, claims things by faith, or to someone else. But really, how much do we know each other's faith? Now, yes, is obviously where we could see someone and know they have a lot of faith by certain things that they do. Like Apostle Paul said, I'll show you my faith by what I do. My life will show you my faith. And our lives do speak faith, or maybe some lives speak lack of faith. But faith is, when I say difficult to quantify, how much somebody daily, hourly, by the minute is living in faith, by faith, using faith. That might be difficult to try and interpret, just like many other things inside of us, like even let's take something like happiness, which I say that's way more difficult to quantify than faith, that someone's faith has. Someone has faith. But I was thinking about this the other day. My grandson, Jay, who's 5 years old now. I know I've shared some things in the past about him. But when he was 2 years old, in his twos, that time frame of 2 to 3 years old, he would wake up, and sometimes he'd say that we needed to pray for an individual, and this happened numerous times, and so he'd wake up in the middle of the night and say that we needed to pray for somebody, or talking to his mom or his dad, and he'd bring up an individual that wasn't that it didn't mean they were there. They had been with him, or he had seen him that day, but we would find out later on that person that he would ask prayer for went through something. They got sick. They got taken to the hospital, and this happened numerous times. So what that was is a prophetic moment and moments that this would happen. Well, now he's over 5 years old, And even though he can still tell the difference between a spiritually heavy environment and a spiritually light environment, he still has that ability to recognize, explain it with his verbiage, his ability to communicate. But the prophetic is happening less as as he gets older. The prophetic is less in his life, and I've thought about it because it gives me this look at it, at the prophetic in a young boy, and then watching it lessen as he gets older. So why would I circle that, highlight that, or recognize as he's getting older, the prophetic is getting lesser? Well, it's because life happens. So as life has happened to this 5-year-old, he now has entered into a world of worry, anxiety, stress, maybe not at a high level. Don't get me wrong, that it's not at a high level, but he's still like, now that he's at that age, he might say something like, oh, it's a Sunday, and he might say something, I don't want to go to school tomorrow on Monday. Or he'll look and say, do I have to go see the doctor? Like, he has this different understanding now about situations, days of the week. He understands, like I said, it's Sunday and Monday he's going to go to school. He'll understand Friday being the last day of the week. He'll like understand these things now. So what that has done is life has come into his life, and it's brought this different, where his attention is at a different place now. So he, like I said, that he can experience a worry. So and I'll give this one that just happened this past week that was new to him. His front tooth came loose. So his front tooth came loose because he's at the stage where it's his first tooth that he's gonna lose as his baby tooth. But he didn't know what that was, and it scared him. He started crying. He started crying because his front tooth got loose, and he didn't know what happened. So my wife had to explain to him that he's losing his front tooth, which is getting ready for his baby tooth. I mean, his baby teeth are going to be leaving. His adult teeth are going to come in, which here he is. He's growing up. So then when I spoke to her later in the day, and I could hear him in the background saying that he's becoming a big boy. I could hear him saying that. But he went from crying because it scared him, it startled him, to say, I'm becoming a big boy. But as life has come into his life, the prophetic has decreased. But it's not because God can't use him in the prophetic now, or that he's not that vessel anymore. It's that life comes in and complicates it. But this is a young 5-year-old, but it shows me, as I look at that, how we can be the same way. Life comes in and it begins to take us away from that faith side, where life begins to complicate us, make things complicated, where faith begins to lack the value it should have for us. I'm not saying my grandson doesn't see value in it, it's just beyond his mental capacity right now. But us as adults, where we could see a lack of value with our faith, but our faith should be valuable to us. It should be something that we protect. We protect our faith. And faith, if I can use it this way, is a lot like muscles. Muscles in the physical realm. And the way muscles work, the more you use them, the more they grow, the stronger they are. The less you use muscles, they begin to die. like within 2 days, if you don't use muscles, they begin to die because they have to be used, they have to be activated for them to stay, be sustained where they are, or to grow. To grow, our faith is a lot like that. You have to activate your faith. You have to use your faith. You have to put it into practice. You have to walk in faith and do things in our lives by faith. I've said this to individuals in the past. As long as we're here on earth and we live here on earth and we're in this earthly body, we're going to need faith. Faith is going to be important to have. We need to have faith. We need to use faith. And that's something that we need to realize. Some people look for a life that doesn't require faith. They don't want to use faith. They don't want to live by faith. They don't want to activate faith. And I'm not talking about an atheist. That's not what I mean. But somebody that believes in God at a certain level doesn't want to walk down a path that requires faith. That we don't know what is beyond the curve we're going on in this road of our spiritual walk. But by faith, we're walking down this path and we're going to turn this curve and believe that God is moving. Believe that God is going to show up, that God is going to be God. He's going to do what God does, his amazing works. But we have to walk by faith. We have to pray in faith. We have to use faith. This morning, as I was going through my prayers, and I say my prayers that I go through on a daily basis, that I've shared many times, and there's you see different recordings we've done of me, morning prayers, evening prayers, those different things. But I was going through my prayers. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Forget not his benefits. Just going down the different things. Give me this day my daily bread. Going down my prayers of speaking to the Lord. And the thought crossed my mind, and this thought has crossed it before. How some people can wake up, get dressed, maybe drink a cup of coffee or have breakfast or whatever they take or not take nutrients. The old school is read the newspaper. Probably a lot of that doesn't happen today, but maybe turn on the news, get things organized of what you might need to put together to walk out the door, and the whole time never speak to the Lord, never talk to the Lord, never pray. Go along their day and maybe get to lunch and still have not prayed. Get into the evening hours and still not pray, and possibly go to sleep and still not prayed. To me, someone might argue and say, well, that's because I have so much faith. I have so much faith I don't need to pray. I don't believe that one. I believe that a lack of prayer isn't because we have so much faith. I believe a lack of prayer is a lack of faith, because faith would tell us to activate it, to move, to put it into practice, and to call on the name of the Lord. The other thing that I see is a lack of prayer is a form of arrogance. And I know that this is not something that I have read or have heard. It's original thought that I have. And the reason I say that is, why would a lack of faith is arrogance, or our lack of prayer or not praying is arrogance, believing that we can do it on our own. That's what I mean by arrogance, that we're arrogant enough to believe that we can do something without God. To me, that's arrogant. It's arrogance. To me, I have to say, I can't do this without the Lord. I need the Lord. I need him in my life. I need him to speak to me. I need him to guide me. I need him to lead me. And as I say that, when something does manifest in a blessing, uh, who am I to take credit for it? Who am I to want to take credit for it? But to give God the glory, to give God the honor. It amazes me when I hear somebody arguing that that they're the straw that stirs the drink. They're the ones that make things happen. The power of God moves and they take credit for it. Lives get touched, they take credit for it. 11 people decide to get baptized and somebody wants to take credit for it. I say no. Let me be part of the team and give God the glory. Let me just be part of the team, whatever God does. I don't want to put myself in a position where I want to argue for what I have done. Look what I have done. I don't want to be in that place. To me, that's a lack of faith. But using faith and saying, look at God. To me, the more amazing thing is not what I can do. The more amazing thing is, what can God do? What can God do through you? What can God do through me? What can God do through us? And put that faith into action and use that faith. But coming back to my grandson, as life happens to him, and as he gets older, that we don't find ourselves where life just comes over us with all of what it can bring of muddying the waters, that our faith gets shelved. Our faith isn't used. Last Sunday was a beautiful, great service as we celebrated the resurrection of the Lord. But this Sunday, a week later, is still a Sunday to celebrate the resurrection of the Lord. To me, every day is a day to celebrate the Lord. Every day. I know people will argue about should we worship on Saturday, the Sabbath, or should we worship on Sunday? Worshiping on Sunday, some people believe, is worshiping the sun, S-U-N, the glow, the big ball of fire in the sky. That if you come to church on Sunday, S-U-N, not sun, S-O-N, but sun, S-U-N-D-A-Y day, Sunday, that you're worshiping the sun. You're giving glory to the sun. You're giving credit to the sun in the sky. No, it's a day to worship the Lord. And you can't tell me in the early church that they did not attend the house of the Lord on Sunday, because they did. The day of Pentecost happened on Sunday. It was a Sunday. The day of Pentecost happened. So they were there. It was the first service that happened. I'm not saying that the disciples didn't recognize the Sabbath. I'm not going to say that. What I mean is that they didn't go to the temple, the temple was there, or to a place of and worship. That's what my whole point is. You could worship. If somebody wants to worship on Saturday, they can worship on Saturday, but you can still worship on Sunday. You can go to the house of the Lord if your heart desires on Saturday. Does that mean you're worshiping Saturn? If you go to church on Saturday, does that mean you're worshiping Saturn? Nobody ever says that. Nobody ever says that somebody that goes to church on Saturday is worshiping Saturn. But people will say if you go to church on Sunday, you're worshiping the sun. It's a contradiction. But I do believe, and I'm not saying people don't worship Saturn and don't worship the sun or the moon, but that's not what we should be focused on. What I mean is every day is a day to worship the Lord. There's one thing that I desired, and that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. Every day's a day to worship the Lord. Even Moon Day, Monday. Moon Day, Monday. In Spanish, lunes, the luna. On Monday, is a day to worship the Lord, not to worship the moon. Quickly, just a footnote, the way that it would have been given is you would have day one, which Sunday would be day one. Monday would be the second day, Tuesday the third day, on, and then the seventh day would be Saturday. But the solar system has come into our society as the naming of the days. But I'm not going to get bent out of shape. I'll say Monday. Hey, let's do Monday. But I don't worship the moon. But I can come to the house of the Lord on Sunday, and I could come to the house of the Lord on the third Sunday of June. I'm just picking a random Sunday, but I could come to the house of the Lord on Resurrection Sunday, or I could come to the house of the Lord on Mother's Day. I could come to the house of the Lord on Father's Day. I don't think we should be getting ourselves bent out of shape with these things. We shouldn't allow them to cause us to stumble, allow us to trip, to like stumble because we tripped on it. But say, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. And we walk in by faith. We live by faith. We lift our hands by faith. We pray by faith. We open our hearts and listen by faith. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things we cannot see. We thank you for using faith this morning and being with us. We invite you to join us here in person if you so desire at 12 o'clock, 1363 South Vineyard in Mesa, 85210. If you're going to put that in your map app, 85210. We're near the Country Club Road and the 60 freeway, right in that area. We thank God for the day He has given us. Every day is a day to give thanks. Every day is a day to give Him glory. Every day is a day to give Him worship. Every day is the day to give Him credit. If you would like to activate faith by blessing us financially, you can text 77977. Text 77977. New Creation AZ. New Creation AZ 77977. And you will get a link and hit the link, and you could bless us that way and use faith that way. Yes, faith. That's a lower level of faith. Yes, financial sowing, if you want to use the word sowing, financially giving is takes faith, but that's actually, people may see that as the highest level of faith. It's actually a lower level of faith. It still takes faith. There's a lot more other things that takes more faith. Blind eyes, deaf ears, lame walking takes more faith, but we still doing some push-ups with our faith, some pull-ups, some exercise, and giving financially is a way to exercise, to use our faith muscles. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday. Yes, on this Sunday, on day one. Have a beautiful and blessed day.